you guys. How are you feeling? Are you feeling calm? Are you feeling serene? Are you feeling anxious? How are you feeling? And the reason I'm asking you that is because I've been feeling really edgy and really tight and sort of stiff and impatient, irritable, and just frantic for no reason, like really frantic and like moving very quickly and everything, and it was really bothering me. So I was thinking about what it was all about and stuff, and what I realized was that it was my pH. I was far too acidic, which can happen really quite easily if you're not vegan. If you're having any animal products, then you're creating acidity in your body. If you eat a high-fat diet, you're creating acidity in your body. If you eat junk food, you're creating acidity in your body. Definitely if you eat meat, any kind of meat, there's phosphoric acid, so phosphate in the meat, that's going to acidify you. Coffee, tea, cola, those things acidify you as well. Stress also acidifies you. Too much cortisol or adrenaline, which is the stress hormone, those acidify you if you're stressed out. Obviously, illicit street drugs will acidify you as well. Alcohol will acidify you. So I think overall our society is kind of overly acidic. And some people actually enjoy being that way because it makes them feel more productive, because your fire is burning really hot when you're acidic, and your metabolism is working really hard to digest all the food that you eat, because you end up eating more when you're acidic because you have more fire to feed, so you need more fuel in that case. And being more acidic also gives you kind of a high, kind of manic type of experience. And in a depressing world that we live in today, I feel that people sometimes prefer that very high, happy, manic feeling to how they actually would feel if they were just normal. So I decided that I wanted to just feel normal again. So I went to Trader Joe's and I got some alkaline water. And this is the brand that I get. It's called Gerolsteiner. But anyway, I get this because it's in a glass bottle, but it does have a styrofoam sticker on it, so that's no good. But when I went there this time, they didn't have this anymore. They had a plastic bottle, so I didn't want to buy the plastic bottle for the alkaline water, so I just went home and looked for baking soda. And I put some baking soda in the water, and I instantly felt better and calm. It calmed me down, because I've been like tightly, very tight, and even just trying to do yoga in the mornings has been torture, because my body's been so stiff and creaky. My joints are popping, everything's cracking and creaky, and I'm so stiff, and I'm like, what the hell, I'm not this old yet. Like that's what we think of as old age, right? Which I don't believe that is the case either, really, for people who have their health in order. But yeah, I don't feel the stiffness. I did a lot of yoga last night because I did this like 3 days ago, and I've been doing yoga every day because it feels good. It doesn't hurt, to stretch my muscles and to breathe and stuff. It doesn't hurt at all. It feels great. I feel grounded. I feel calm, and I'm eating less food, which is magnificent. You don't need as much food when your pH is a little on the higher side, because your digestive fire is very much dampened. So you don't have as much digestive fire, so you don't need as much fuel. So you go from having this raging big fire to just having kind of embers burning, which is really, sometimes you need a big fire, sometimes you need embers. It just depends on what your situation is. But I want to mention about alkalinizing your system that when you do alkalinize your system, keep in mind that your stomach acid is a lot weaker. So you might, get stomach ache if you eat something that's not a completely sterile food. Like say you get a cheeseburger and it wasn't cooked well done. You might get a stomach ache from that because there's parasites in there. And normally your stomach acid will kill that parasite. But when you're alkalinizing, it not so much. So you have to be very diligent about making sure that you're not contaminating yourself. If you eat any dairy products that are not sterile, You're also going to experience some gas and some bloating that you didn't before when you start alkalinizing, but don't let that turn you away from doing it, because it's just that your stomach acid is weaker, and that's not a bad symptom. The stress and the tension and the tightness and the insomnia, that's more of a symptom than the weak stomach acid. You know, you can cook your dairy products, you can bake your cheese in the oven, you can fry it in the pan. You know, you can cook your meat well done and cook all your animal products well done. And whenever you get produce from the grocery store that's questionable, or if you harvest produce out of your yard or whatever, put vinegar and salt in a bowl of water and just douse that in there and get the pathogens out of your produce as well. So that's one thing. Then the other thing is that if you're a female, you're just a quick snippet about your vaginal environment. Inside of the vagina is slightly on the acidic side. It's more acidic than the rest of your body, and that is because there is a yeast. The yeast have a preference for that area there. So you want to make sure that you're not eating sugar when you're alkalinizing, because sugar grows yeast, right? And you could end up with yeast infection. So if you do get a yeast infection and you're alkalinizing, you go, I don't want to alkalinize anymore because I'm getting yeast infection. It's because of the sugar. So the way to avoid the yeast is just to avoid the sugar. And it's easy to do when your pH is a little high, above 7, because 7 is the perfect pH. But most people are hovering around a 6. Which I feel is too low. I try to keep it up to a 7, and I have litmus paper. You can get litmus paper that can test your urine. Your urine pH should always be at a 7. I'm trying to push mine up to like an 8. I've seen people go up to 9 with the alkaline because they needed it. You know, it makes you feel better. But don't be discouraged by the effects that I'm mentioning. If you get, if you have a stomach issue, that's because you consume something that has bacteria that you probably always consume and it didn't bother you before, but it might bother you now because your stomach acid is weaker, or you might get a yeast infection. Don't let that bother you either. Just stop eating the sugar right away and start eating probiotic cultures, and that should correct that yeast problem for you. So hopefully you will experience the same success that I've experienced with this. I've been doing it for 3 days now, and I feel like myself again. I feel like myself, and so it's really nice. Thanks for watching.